efforts to retrieve the bodies of 28 suspected illegal miners who died in a ventilation shaft at a Free State mine are being hampered by high levels of methane. A total of 31 people died underground on the 18th of May, but only 3 bodies were brought to the surface. They are believed to be nationals from Lesotho. The Mineral Resources and Energy Department says it received a report from the Mountain Kingdom about the tragedy. It says although information is coming in sporadically, officials are doing their best to act. For more on this, we're joined by the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, Luzipho Sahlulele. Thank you very much, Luzipho, for your time this afternoon. That the Mountain Kingdom contacted officials from South Africa to notify them about these deaths. Is that unusual?
Good afternoon to you and the viewership. Unfortunately, I'm not a diplomat. I wouldn't understand matters of international relations, but it leaves a lot of questions than answers. The first issue is also the fact that we must say that it is so unfortunate that there's a potential of a massive loss of life of that nature. Until such time that information has been successfully verified, at this stage, we will take as if this is a suspicion of an incident that has taken place, and it requires that it must be confirmed. But as I said, it's quite a very strange way of hearing how things are taking place, and this is exactly goes to what the 3 portfolio committees have raised in relation to the nature of relationship that requires the SADC region to look at this issue of illegal mining beyond just the borders of South Africa, because some of these countries, especially Lesotho, have been made, the allegation have been made to be the major suppliers of those who work underground. We are not sure, though, who are the kingpins that are responsible for such recruitment. And therefore, I think both South Africa and Lesotho must take full responsibility to make sure that they cut the umbilical cord in relation to the issue of illegal mining and the cross-border supply of that type of illegal and in most cases, child labor. If we were to look, I suspect that if those bodies are recovered, we will see in terms of the ages that these are young kids that are being used to in such a way of an exploitative labor of the worst of kind.
There's also reports of 8 decomposed bodies believed to be those of Zamazamas being found near a dumping site in Germiston. Are you aware of this report?
Look, there's always reports left, right, and center of illegal mining victims. That from time to time we'll get these reports, and I think we should be worried about the fact that it is not just illegal mining activity that is taking place, it's the level of violence that goes with it, both amongst illegal mining, but also that is being meted to communities that are closer or are within the vicinity where illegal mining is taking place. And therefore, it is not only just a war against illegal mining, it is also a war against violent crimes that have to be rooted out because of, at times, territorial wars, but also access to amenities that are found within the communities.
Mr. Luzipho, when it comes to cutting the umbilical cord, as you speak of, what does that look like? Because what to do in South Africa with some of these disused mines? The minister was speaking earlier this morning on the channel about this mine, in particular in the Free State, having been set up back in the 1980s or 1990s. And this is not the only mine. What is the portfolio committee seized with when it comes to the issue of disused mines in the country?
When a mine is closed, the mine is closed, and I think the question will be, was there no proper rehabilitation that was done? As far as we know, that would have been done. Here's the problem, is that once the mine is closed, it actually means now it develops hazardous conditions, including methane emissions. and any individual who then confronts methane, it becomes a deadly experience, and many lives in most cases will be lost. The point, therefore, is that to what extent do we manage, as the responsible countries in the SADC region, do we manage our own borders so that we don't become suppliers of those who are conducting the actual illegal mining activities? And I'm saying this with extreme caution so that we don't say only blame those that are doing the act of illegal mining, but we also deal with the issue, the origins of illegal mining, which means you have people who might be in higher places who benefit by using those individuals to conduct illegal mining activities. So we have to find a balance between the two. I can say now, even in our report, when we were given confidentially by the police, that in some of the countries within our own, we won't mention names now, some even run their own election campaign through the revenue that is generated through illegal mining activities. And if that is true, it actually means the problem is much bigger than just the individuals that are found there. It means inherently it may find expression even within the political system.
When did you receive that report, and what sort of work has been done to address some of the issues, as complicated as they are?
The report, you remember, we did undertake with 3 portfolio committees: Mineral Resources and Energy, Home Affairs and Police. About a week or two ago, that report was tabled in Parliament. Parliament adopted that report unanimously, and it made specific recommendations. Amongst those recommendations that have been made is the need for a SADC platform that will be used as an anti-illegal combating activities. It also put specific areas that will require each of the SADC countries to take responsibility in assisting to curb illegal mining activities. It specifies what do we think should be the role of the police, what should be the role of Home Affairs, and what should be the role of the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, and what should be the role of the entire criminal justice system, including the judiciary and the NPA. So that's what the report begins to present. The question would be, is there a willingness from those who are not necessarily being affected both by illegal mining activities as well as by proceeds or outcomes of illegal mining activities? For example, cases of rape, communities that are terrorized, are robbed at night, and so forth and so forth. You may find that the reason they may not take these issues seriously because they are not happening within the boundaries of their own countries. They happen in boundaries of another country. And that is why we then said, amongst other things that South Africa has to do as a state, is to protect its sovereignty and also treat the issue of legal mining as a matter that poses that is a threat to national security.
You speak of a threat to national security. The Mineral Resources Minister, Gwede Mantashe, has accused the Mountain Kingdom of Lesotho of economic sabotage. A little bit earlier on, you spoke of how both South Africa and Lesotho needs to take responsibility. What does take responsibility mean and look like?
Well, taking responsibility is to mean that it is a reality, and I don't think we should hide it. It is a reality. The first question will be, how did the government of Lesotho, especially at such a high level, receive that information when it was not known? And then it actually means Lesotho must also look at, is there not a system where, and for all the wrong reasons, I must not say, I can't accuse them and say they are aware, because sometimes when people are recruited, they are promised that maybe you will get access to school and so forth, only to find out when they arrive in these areas, they are treated as slaves. And we think that there is a need, therefore, to have that cooperation so that you cut out the supply. Because the point now that it can be projected or that can be assumed is that Lesotho might be used, and especially their old young kids, might be used as a supply for illegal mining activities that are taking place. It can be any other citizen. It may be South Africans that are doing that. It may be others that we don't know. And that is why we say that level of cooperation is required. And it will take each country to say, we are not going to be used as a seedbed that will supply acts of national threats to national security. I think that's the issue that we seek to say. So we need to appeal to all those who are responsible within the SADC region to sit down, find and create and come up with a concrete plan that says this is what from now we are going to do going forward.
Have you given yourselves, or have you at least thought about timelines, especially when you speak of threats to national security and economic sabotage? Those are not words to take lightly.
Look, I think it would be unfair to talk about timelines and other things. Remember, the issue of illegal mining is a criminal act, it's a criminal element. We can only assist to say, from a policy point of view, what do we think has to be done? And that process, as long as it can ensue, it will be able, so that we don't look at illegal mining only from a point of mining. We look at illegal mining from a point of view that says, here is a criminal activity that is taking place, and how do we begin to cap that? And then we must be able to say, we want to add that this particular unit, as I said in the recommendation, this particular section, this is what it will do. From a certain point of view, this is what we think each country will come. For an example, some of the ammunition that are being used, including explosives, are said that to have been supplied by ex-military combatants or soldiers. And therefore, we have to look at deeper, and it is not those people that are South Africans. It is a supply that it is alleged is coming within the SADC region. So we should not just, my point though is that SADC must begin to take the issue of illegal mining very seriously. And these are people who also have got families. So each country must ask itself, how could I lose 31 people lost their lives outside without being given a mandate by that particular country? So even for those countries, these activities affect their own people. The only difference is that it affects them outside the borders of their own countries.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time this afternoon. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, Luzipho Sahlulele.